Hey there. The word live strikes fear into the heart of so many. It's such a funny thing. So we're doing a live, our live masterclass, and invariably there have been all these kind of the tech issues, and here we are. So happy that you're here. And if we haven't met, we're trying to broadcast this simultaneously to a lot of different places. If we haven't met, my name is Cheryl Hunter, and I am so excited that you're here today for this masterclass. I am committed. Over the past decade, I've been fortunate to get my message out to the world, in front of millions, and I'm committed to helping other people do the same thing. So, all righty. As we're going and I'm leading this masterclass, we've got some team members from my team that are going to be responding to questions. If you've got any questions, drop those, and if we've got time, I'll respond to those later at the end. And in the meantime, all righty, we'll go. One moment, please. I'll have a sip of water and we'll launch in. Fingers crossed it's all working now. Okay, good. So here we go. So this masterclass is all about how to master, magnify, and monetize your message. It is the secret code that entrepreneurs and thought leaders use to capture media attention and skyrocket their influence, impact, and income, even if no one's ever heard of them before. So here's who this is for. You are an entrepreneur, you're a thought leader, you're a coach, a consultant like this, okay? You do amazing work, but you haven't been able to effectively get your message out to the world yet. And you know that if you can't get your message out to the world and in front of the right people, you're not going to continue to have a business. So this is going to last about 30 minutes. Now, that's independent of questions, okay? But we're going to go about 30 minutes. And here's what we're going to do. You will learn the step-by-step game plan to get featured in major media, reach millions, and share your business or your story. And I mean, even if right now you don't have a following, you don't have an audience, and like I said before, nobody knows who you are. You'll learn the inside secrets that have reporters begging to hear your story and give you the most favorable, glowing coverage you could ever imagine. Now, here's the catch. They're already looking for what you've got. They just don't know it yet. You'll learn how my clients go from racing to keep up with the competition to simply dominating their marketplace. And all because they've positioned themselves as the only logical choice for what it is that they provide. You'll learn how to craft an irresistible message that's like candy to big media, and do it while being completely authentic and true to yourself. You'll learn how to go from sitting in the shadows, watching some buffoons hog up the limelight, to really stepping in to the spotlight yourself. Center stage, all eyes on you, and being able to finally be publicly recognized as the real deal that you've been all along. Oh, and by the way, you will have the income, impact, and influence to prove that. Next, you'll learn how to do all of this while being totally genuine, totally true to yourself, and reaching the people that you care about and you're here to serve. Here's my promise to you. You will learn the secret to articulating a compelling message that captures media attention and skyrockets your influence, impact, and income. Okay, ready? Again, even if nobody's ever heard of you before, don't let that be a concern. Okay, does this sound like you? Do you know in your heart that you've got something to say? Do you know in your heart that you've got something that you can offer, some roadmap you can give that's going to change life for the better? But you just haven't been able to get the right people to sit up and take notice? Do you stay up nights worrying that, man, if you can't find a way to have your business stand out from everybody else's out there, you're going to have to go to work for somebody else? Do you see other people competitors maybe that have been around longer, they've got a bigger following, they're just way ahead of the game than you, and you're like, what? How am I ever going to catch up? Do you see your competitors? People that maybe even people you idealize that are on TV and the media, they got a huge following, and you're like, what? How does that happen? How did they even get there? Are you terrified somebody's going to come up to you and say, hey, tell me about you? What do you do? Because you don't know how to articulate it in a compelling enough way that makes people say, yes, I want that. Or, nope, not for me, and sorts them out quickly. Are you crystal clear that you don't have a moment to waste, because it's a loud, crowded world out there these days? And somebody, your competition likely, is already grabbing your potential client's ear and their business. Do you worry that if you can't find a way to get your business in front of the right people, get yourself, your message in front of the right people and do it quickly, somebody else is going to, it's going to be too late? Well, if any of that has been a concern for you, I've got some good news. None of that is actually the real problem. The real problem is simply that you don't know the secret code yet for getting featured in major media. Because once you've got an established business, there's nothing that can supercharge your brand and your authority, your influence, your income faster than being featured by the media. Once you know how to crack the code, forget it. Getting your message out to the world, it's a piece of cake. You'll be able to communicate who you are and what you do in a compelling way that, like I said before, draws people in, makes them say, yes, I want that, or sorts them out quickly so there's no wasted time. You'll be able to monetize your message by distinguishing yourself from the pack and making yourself an authority and the only logical choice for what it is that you offer. You'll be fulfilling your purpose, your potential, and the reason you're here in the first place. You'll be able to charge top dollar and fully own your worth for what it is that you provide. You'll be able to reach the people that you're here to serve and make the difference that you always knew you were here to make. You'll be known as the best at what you do, and you'll prove all the naysayers that have come along your journey dead wrong. You'll be clear, confident, and standing center stage in the spotlight, all eyes on you. Sound good? All righty. This is me if we haven't met yet. I'm Cheryl Hunter. I am a TV news commentator. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a speaker. Now, here's how I want to let you know how I got into this in the first place. I'm frequently on CNN, NBC, PBS. I've done Dr. Oz. I've just all over the news, Fox News, CNN, you name it. I've been on virtually everything out there. Now, here's how I got into this in the first place. Originally, I started many, many years ago as a coach. Now, I originally had become a coach to save my own life, quite frankly. I started studying personal development after having gone through a traumatic event as a teenager. And before long, I realized, hey, I'm pretty good at this. And I got tons of training, then decided to be a professional coach, was all trained up and certified, hung out my shingle, so to speak, got business cards printed up and a website and all that stuff, and was like, okay, I'm just going to sit back and wait for business. None of it ever came in. I mean, seriously, crickets. I would post blog posts and nobody except my mom literally would read the things. But she left very nice comments, but it just wasn't bringing in any income. I wasn't going to be able to live this way. In the meantime, I was working as a dog walker, a waiter, and driving food delivery in Los Angeles, not kidding you. And I was like, okay, something's got to change. I'm an immensely trained coach who's good at what I do, but I just couldn't get my message out to people. And I was sitting back, it was New Year's Day, just a long time ago, more than a decade ago. And I was watching one of the morning shows, and they had a person on there who was talking about how to make this year, way back then, how to make this year your best year yet. And their big advice, I was like, wow, this person must really have some amazing advice. After all, how did they get on TV? And they said, here's the key. If you want to make your goals come true, write them down. And I'm like, what? That's it? How did this person get on TV? I could have done that segment a million times better than that. And so I made it my job to do exactly that. I've now done over 100 media appearances, and I'm passionate about helping others do the same, because I've realized that there's very simple keys that allow you to get in front of the right people. Without it, like I said, I was suffering, failing, and was going to have to go out of business. And I've seen that for countless people that I've worked with. With it, the sky's the limit. So here we go. All righty. Now, here's the secret codes. I've told you how I discovered them. I got myself on TV, and then I codified my path and then did it with other people, and it worked for them too. So here's the secret codes. All right. The first one, you've got a story to tell. You have a story to tell. I'm talking to you, and the media wants to share it. So there's a lot of super common beliefs that I come upon when I talk to people about getting their story out into the media. The first one is, no, I don't know that I really have a compelling enough story to tell in the first place. And the second one is, even if I did, nobody cares what I have to say. They're basing it on what's happened so far, but I just want to let you know those beliefs are a myth. And here's why. 2 reasons, okay? The first reason, everybody's got a story to tell. I mean, each one of us has a totally different way of looking at the world and solving problems. We've amassed a lifetime of expertise in the things that we've been good at. You have a story to tell. I'm letting you know this. You just need to learn to tell it in a media-worthy way. That's the catch. You need to learn to tell it in a media-worthy way. Now, the second reason is of what I like to call the 24-hour news cycle. So it's a different era that we live in today. Just imagine, just for a moment, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, in this imaginary scenario we're going to go into right now, imagine you're a journalist and your boss is on your back 24 hours a day, because you've got to break story after story. You've got to come up with idea after idea after idea. Nobody can come up with that much material. It's not like the old days, Edward R. Murrow, Walter Cronkite, Peter Jennings, and Dan Rather. These guys had 1 hour of news to fill a night, and they had a whole army of people helping them do that. Now, news cycles are 24 hours a day. It's always, what's breaking news now? What's breaking news in this hour? What's breaking? We've all seen it on the news. Nobody can create that much content. So think about it this way. Again, if you're that journalist and somebody comes to you with a phenomenal story, ready to go, ready to put on air, they've just made your life a whole lot easier and helped you fill that 2 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 11 minutes that you had no idea how you were going to fill. So they just did you a huge favor. So think about it now from your perspective. If you realize that you've got a story to tell and you just need to tell it in a media-worthy way, and you realize that there is, in fact, a 24-hour news cycle, and they want my content. They want what I have, and I would be doing them a huge service. You start to realize why I say everybody's got a story to tell, right? So the media needs you as much as you need them. Now, that's not the way we normally look at it. We normally look at it like, oh, please, may I have another? Like begging them, beseeching the media to do us a big favor, when in fact, we would be doing them a big favor when we come up with great content. You with me? Yes. All righty, let's move on. So throughout the case of the course of this masterclass, I'm going to share stories with you of people that I've helped get on national TV or into the media, and because they've got interesting stories that'll help bring this home, okay? The first one of these people is an amazing human named Gary. Isn't he just amazing? He's so charismatic. He's owns a brick and mortar business in Los Angeles and loves DIY, like do it yourself, passionate about all things DIY. He knew in his heart he had a story to tell. He wanted to connect the dots and link his story to his business. He just wasn't quite sure how to put those all together because he's multi-passionate and so good at so many different things. So he was like, okay, if I just have to learn how to tell my story in a media-worthy way, and there's a 24-hour news cycle, let me see what I can come up with. And he started going to local news and became the darling, he's in Los Angeles, the darling of the local news, KTLA. They got him on all the time. It made a huge difference in his brick and mortar business. But he also was passionate, like I said, about DIY and wanted to find a way to get that out there in the world. And we started talking about it like, well, what's your biggest belief about DIY? And he said, well, I don't care what it is. If it's I'm restoring a Victorian home, which he is right now, or or creating arts and crafts around the home. I believe, how hard could it be? So he takes on his message is that you could come up with anything. Anything is something you could figure out a solution to. So we found a way to tell that in a media-worthy way. And in the process, got the attention of one of the biggest agents in Hollywood and the biggest production companies. And he got himself a deal with them to follow him around as he does his DIY projects. And all because, again, he realized he's got a story to tell. He's just got to tell it in a media-worthy way. And there is, in fact, a 24-hour news cycle. Huge success story. Awesome, Gary. All righty, here he is on PBS telling his story on national television. I mean, does it get any better? Again, secret code number one is you've got a story to tell, and the media wants to share it. Okay, cool. Moving on to secret code number two. What is that? People only listen when it matters to them. Okay, quick water break, 1 second. You can tell we're live. I'm hydrating. Okay. So, secret code number two, people only listen when it matters to them. Now, here's the catch. When people say, when they apply secret code number one and they go, I do have a story to tell. I do. You like me. Generally, there's a little hiccup that happens automatically, which is their story starts to sound something like this. Me, 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 me. me. But enough about me. What do you think about me? Me. People go like ear blind to it. They can't hear it anymore because it's overwhelming. That's a problem when people only hear me when you're talking. So again, that's a problem because people only listen when it matters to them. So then what the heck is a solution? How do you tell your story and not have it sound like a me fest? Well, here's the solution. You use the messaging golden mean system. So this is something I've invented. It's a ratio. If you've ever heard of the golden mean, it's just applying simple science, simple mathematics to your sharing of your story. And you do it in such a way that when you speak your story, people hear their story. It's a crazy phenomenon. But again, you speak your story and they hear their story. It's what galvanizes audiences and turns listeners into stakeholders. It's pretty remarkable. Again, you scientifically craft your message so that people hear themselves. Excuse me. When you use this messaging golden mean to craft your story, people don't just hear you, they hear themselves. And like I said, it's what galvanizes listeners. But what's really cool is it ends up that people care as much about your message as you do. Now, we've all experienced this. We've all heard somebody's story or message or bought their product. And like, you know, you can think of the mom that got on Shark Tank and invented a better mousetrap. I mean, not literally a mousetrap, but like a better footsie pajamas, because the other ones, the old way, didn't work for her kids, but now this does. And you're like, oh my God, I need this. I don't even have kids who wear footsie pajamas, but I need to share this with everybody. You know what I'm talking about? This is because they're using this secret code and realizing people only listen when it matters to them. Okay, now I'm going to give you another case study. Remarkable, extraordinary woman. This is Candace. Candace is committed to changing the way that people view aging and the aged population, right? Now, in the past, it's understandable that Candace would meet with some resistance, right? People kind of had one of two ways of looking at it. Either, nope, that's not me. I'm not the aged population. Or, the aging, that sounds depressing. I'm already aging and it sucks. You know, people had a kind of predictable way of listening to it, but no way. Candace is committed to this. It's a passion for her, a real life's purpose. So we found a way for her to craft her story. She shares her story in the most remarkable way. So what people hear is themselves, no matter where they find themselves on the spectrum of aging, no matter what they thought about the topic before, what they hear and Candace is sharing is themselves, their friends, their family, their aging friends or family, themselves and their future. It's remarkable. She was speaking to smaller groups and started speaking to larger and larger groups until here she is, national television, PBS's American Health Journal, sharing her passion for millions. Now that makes a difference. And it was all because she employed this secret code number 2 and realized that people only listen when it matters to them. And she did it beautifully. All righty. Let's move on. Here is secret code number 3. Use the secret weapon. Well, what's the secret weapon, you might ask? The secret weapon is connect the dots for the media. This is the good stuff, man. I wish someone had taught me this when I was starting out knocking on doors. Please hire me. Please get me out. So, okay, here's what I'm talking about. Look. They're already talking about something in the media. You need to look out there and see, what are they talking about? Okay, what's already being talked about? And then join the conversation. Join the conversation. How? I don't know, Facebook Lives, blog, write an op-ed, publish an Instagram story or a LinkedIn article. And then connect your story to what's already being talked about. Then you see, you start to already become a resource for what's being talked about. And reporters and journalists, remember, like we said, the 24-hour news cycle. These people are the busiest people in the world. So you hand it to them on a silver platter. Again, you are connecting the dots. Boom, boom, boom. Doing their job for them. Yes, they will love you for it. Are you kidding me? So here's case study number 3, another amazing human being who used this tool in such a beautiful and inspiring way. This is Mary, beautiful person inside and out. Mary is a teacher and she is passionate about mental health. Why? Because she's crystal clear that if her students have a powerful relationship to mental health, like there's a powerful relationship to mental health awareness, it will destigmatize the whole thing, right? And enable them to be able to talk about it no matter what. If it's something they're embarrassed about, they won't talk about it. It could hold them back. But if it's destigmatized, then they're free to just share freely about it and talk about it. And she realized it would not only help her students in the classroom, but it would help them throughout the course of their life. So here's what we did. There's this thing called Mental Health Awareness Month that happens every single year. And we came up with a beautiful story for Mary to tell about her students, about the difference it would make. She connected the dots for the media. She became known as somebody who was discussing this And then she created this beautiful prepackaged story and got it to the media in time for Mental Health Awareness Month. This is Mary on a video series that was on the Huffington Post. It was co-sponsored by AOL and Mazda. And again, here she is. She went from sharing her message in the classroom or in the school or to people, groups of people who would listen, to getting her message in front of millions. That is an amazing difference. And it made a huge difference for her students and people old and young alike, as it helped to destigmatize mental health issues. Just amazing job. Huge congratulations, Mary. And it's all because, again, she employed the secret weapon, which is connecting the dots for the media. All righty, here we go. Next, secret code number 4, grasp the big picture. 1 second, water break. So what the heck is the big picture, right? Well, the point of getting into the media is not just to go, hey, look at me, aren't I cool? I'm on TV, woohoo! The point of it is to parlay it into something that'll make a difference, right? So if you've already got a business, a brick and mortar business, you sell products or services, it'll impact those, no question. But the point is to start to look at it from the perspective of, how do I turn media appearances into the influence I want? How do I make the impact I want and the income that it could provide if I do that? Now, for this, I'm going to use myself as a case study. You can imagine, though, as I'm going through it, what difference it would make for you and your business if you were able to get your message out to the world. So here are some of the things I've done. Again, look from your own perspective. What would you like to do? So speaking events. It's just one of my favorite things to do is get live in front of people. There's something that happens in the moment as we're creating something together. And I had gone from little stages to very big stages once I got on the media. People were like, oh, would you come speak at our corporate event or our event, wherever the heck? And yes, absolutely. It's something that opened up out of being in media. Next, live workshops, trainings, and seminars. Now, this is like in addition to whatever else your business is. But these are some of the things I've loved doing. What kind of workshops would you lead? What kind of live trainings would inspire you? Next, online programs. This is one of my favorite programs in the whole world to lead. One of my signature programs, Break Free Formula. And it all became available after, you guessed it, media exposure. Another thing, retreats. This has got to be one of my all-time favorites. Where in the world do you want to go? How'd you like to go there with your favorite people, your clients, and to go to some, fabulous exotic locale? Woohoo! I'm always like, beaches, any beach. So here's just like me with some of my students. I love doing this. What would you do, right? If you were to grasp the big picture and think, if I had the media exposure that I'm committed to, what difference would it make in my business and my ability to impact the people I care about impacting the most? Right? Beautiful. That's secret code number 4. All righty, we're moving on. Secret code number 5. Here it is. Invest in mentoring. Now, here's a few people who have coaches or mentors. Oprah. Bryce Dallas Howard, Hugh Jackman, Leonardo DiCaprio, Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, for Pete's sake. If you like sports, any athlete has a whole team of them. Maybe business is your thing. Think Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Eric Schmidt, who you may know from Google, said the best advice he ever got was to hire a coach. CBS News agrees. They say coaching can drive creativity, satisfaction, and bottom line results, and provide an approximately 300% ROI. Is there any investment in the entire world that provides a 300% ROI? Heavens. So the question is not then, okay, does mentoring or coaching work? But really the question becomes, well, how do you find the right one? Here's a few suggestions, okay? There's an author named Malcolm Gladwell. You may know him. He suggests that mastery is attained by being in practice of something for at least 10,000 hours. Meaning, if you're going to find a mentor, finding somebody who got a coaching certification on Groupon, that's not the right way to go. Find somebody who's been doing this for at least 10,000 hours, right? I'm not kidding. There are coaching certifications on Groupon, just in case. So you want to also read the results that their clients accomplish and then try them on for size. What in the heck difference would this make in my life if I were able to do this? And then finally, you want to make sure there's some kind of independent verification. Like, who else says this person is the real deal? That kind of independent verification can really help you sort out the wheat from the chaff, all right? So think about it. You've been here in this masterclass for however long we've been here, and there's new insights that you have. And you have that because of attending this masterclass, which happens out of two things: your willingness and my mentoring. Willingness plus mentoring causes breakthrough results. A good mentor not only provides those kinds of insights, but they teach you how to implement them. One moment. A great mentor also puts together a powerful group of people who are working towards similar goals, because there's a great dynamic that happens, which is your breakthroughs become their breakthroughs and vice versa. And because of that dynamic, my clients achieve bigger, faster results than they ever dreamed possible. More results than sometimes people ever accomplish in a lifetime. So here's a case study. This is a client, Rebecca. She's just amazing, heart of gold. She had an idea to share her voice with the world. And the way she always wanted to do that is podcasting. So over the course of our time working together, she launched her own podcast. It's called The Art. And it's just extraordinary, about the art of living. And she interviews really interesting people and has she has found her sweet spot. So here's the thing. It's been just one short year since she launched the podcast. And I mean, if you've ever looked on podcast apps, it's like there's a billion podcasts out there. How on earth do you separate yourself? Well, she found a way to do that. Excuse me. So much so that she got invited to speak at Comic-Con this year. Have you ever, Comic-Con is gigantic. And here she is, a brand new podcaster. She found such a compelling way to tell her story and get her voice out to the world. And, used all the keys in doing that she was invited to speak at Comic-Con. How many one-year podcasters do you think were invited to speak at Comic-Con? None. One. Rebecca. So it just goes to show you what you can do with mentoring. Just amazing. So inspiring, Rebecca. Well done. And it's all because she employed secret code number 5 and invested in mentoring. Okay. Here's what you need to win. I'm going to recap some of the things we've already gone through, okay? And here's all that you need to win at getting media attention. 1, know that you've got a story to tell. Everybody does. You just need to learn to tell it in a media-worthy way. Next, people only listen when it matters to them. Next, use a secret weapon. What is the secret weapon? Again, connect the dots for the media. Next, grasp the big picture. How do you turn media appearances into the impact you want to make in the world and the influence and income that you want? How do you turn it into something so the media appearances are not just an end into themselves, okay? And finally, invest in mentoring. Now, these 5 secret codes are enough to help you step out of the shadows and step straight into the spotlight where you belong. Now, this is a turning point. Now you've got a choice. Let's say you've got a message that you want to get out to the world. You want to help people. You know that you are a change agent waiting to happen. You're a light worker. You're somebody who's here to make a difference of the quality of life on this planet. You can either take everything I've given you, everything that I've compiled in more than a decade of doing over 100 media appearances myself and helping countless others do the same. You can either take all of that and go, that was an interesting half an hour. What's for dinner? Or you can apply it. You can say, enough. This is the line of demarcation. Sure, I may be afraid that I don't have a message, or afraid of standing out on TV, or not like my voice, or not like the way I look on camera, or whatever, and put all that hogwash aside, because you know in your heart that you've got a message and you're here to serve. And you have said, enough. Enough of me standing in the shadows while those charlatans hog up the limelight. And the nasty, mean junk that's on TV today in the news, that's all I see. You can say enough to that. And I want good news to be on TV for a change. I want good news to be in the newspapers and in magazines and online publications. I want to read stories that inspire me, and I'm going to start with me. You can say, that's it. This is the line of demarcation. And if that's you and you're saying enough standing in the shadows, enough, I am moving into the spotlight. Here's how I can help. Sorry, I messed up the PowerPoint, but I want to let you know my team and I have set aside some time in the next 48 hours to talk with you, and I mean personally, about how you can apply these 5 secret codes to your business starting today. Now, whatever your biggest challenges are, look, we've seen it. I've been doing this for a long time, and I know how to overcome it. In this session, what we're going to do is work with you one-to-one to craft a step-by-step game plan to find out the specific ways that you're standing in the shadows now and get you set on track to get your message out to the world in a big way. And the cost for this session is absolutely free. So you might think, well, why in the heck are you doing this? First, let me be sure that I'm clear who this is for, because this is only for you if this is for you, okay? You know that in your heart you've got something to say, something to offer that can change the world, and you're good at what you do, but you're just not getting the right people to sit up and take notice. You stay up nights worrying that if you can't get your message in front of the right people, you're not going to have a business anymore. You're crystal clear you don't have a moment to waste because it's a loud, crowded world, and your competition is already speaking to the people that you want to serve, and they're getting their business as well. And you're terrified if you can't find a way to get yourself and your brand in front of the right people quickly, it's going to be too late. If that's you, I want you to book a session right now. Now, again, you might ask why we're doing this. Here's why. First, we love giving back. I am committed to getting change agents out in the media. I love helping people accomplish the goals that matter most to them. Plus, we're also clear that you might want our help to do this, to transform your messaging and your business and get you out there in the media. If so, we'll discuss if it's a good fit and a good fit for both of us. If not, hey, that's fine too. Here's how to book your strategy session. It's a one-to-one call. Go to CherylHunter.com/call. Now look, there's only a few of us on my team that do these calls, and there's only a few hours in the day. We don't talk 24 hours a day. It is a one-to-one call. So obviously space is very limited, meaning if you want a spot, sign up now. CherylHunter.com/call. If you don't see times available right now, just come back in a day or two, refresh your browser, something. Again, there's only so many of us humans on the phones and so many hours in the day. Excuse me, CherylHunter.com/call. Okay. I want to share one more story with you before we go. This is somebody I helped get on national TV. Liana is the most extraordinary human you will ever meet. She was a dancer, former dancer, who became paralyzed after climbing a tree and falling to the ground. Now, you will never hear a moment of why me, or if only that didn't happen, not for a moment. She is inspiring and embraces her life and her journey and helps other people do exactly the same. Now, when we met, she already had a compelling story. She was already sharing that story, traveling around the country and doing intimate community healings, she would call them, where she would go in and do like a live stage performance, and people would leave in tears, not just about her, but about themselves, because she's masterful at sharing her story that way. But here's the thing, her story needs to be heard by a large audience, by millions, because it's that inspiring. So that's exactly what we did. Here she is on CNN's headline news, telling her story for millions. Now, I want you to be clear. If for a second you think, oh, but her story's really dramatic, mine isn't, don't think that. That's not the point. The point is she knows how to tell her story in a media-worthy way, and you can too. You want to learn how? Jump on this one-to-one strategy session and book this call right now. CherylHunter.com/call. Again, spaces are very limited. Sign up now. Okay, hold on. My phone is blowing up and I'm getting a text. I can't go into the messages live time. Because Lord knows I can't read I can see them, but I can't answer live time. Okay, I get this message. Okay, here's a question. So I've got a brick and mortar business. They didn't say that. I have a business, a store. Sorry. Does this apply to me as well? Okay. So thank you. Okay, Jen, I have a store. Does this apply to me as well? So a great question. So here's my thought about it. I used Shark Tank as an example before. I love the show. So imagine, for example, hypothetically, that you had a spaghetti sauce and you went into Shark Tank and you're like, okay, here's my spaghetti sauce. We are in these markets, we're in Kroger, and we want to go even bigger. And here's our profits in Q4 of last year and Q3 and 2 and 1 and the whole, you just give them the numbers. And they're like, oh, okay. Do you have any partners? They ask like that kind of question. Versus, so there's a business, like a brick and mortar business. You sell spaghetti sauce with no messaging, no story. Then imagine, I'm thinking of my Italian grandma. Like imagine, okay, somebody goes in and goes, I got the best sauce in the whole wide world. My grandma Josephine made it. She's from Calabria in Italy, and her whole life she spent perfecting this recipe. Only San Marzano tomatoes. She makes it. It's the best thing you ever tasted. It'll make your mouth water before you even tasted it. But when the GIs came back from World War II, she set up outside the USO dance halls and served it to them for free. And they had a line of people going around the block so that when my grandpa came back from the war, they opened up their shop and sold this sauce at their restaurant, and people would line up around the block. And when she took her last breath, she said, help get this sauce out to the world. Here, taste it. Right? Like, imagine, I'm like crying over a fake flipping story here. It's like, it is my grandma's story, kinda, but which one of those would you buy? Right? Which one of those businesses would you make your go-to company that you bought stuff for? If you were in the store and you knew the story of this one versus this one had a pretty package and label, which one are you going to buy? I tell you, even price aside, 9 times out of 10, we're going to buy the one that makes us feel good. Remember the messaging golden mean, the one where we hear our stories in it? All right, guys, that's all the time I've got for questions today. I want this to be you next. Do you want this to be you? Are you ready to make this your line of demarcation and say, enough standing in the shadows? It's time that I share my message with the world. I am here to change life on this planet in whatever way. Whether you've got a product, whether you're a coach, whether you want to write books, whatever that is, it's time for the world to hear these positive messages. CherylHunter.com/call. Can't wait to see you then. All righty. Excuse my desktop here for a minute while I close this all out. Yikes. Okay. All right, everybody. It's been a joy to be with you. Mwah. See you on the other side. Bye.